Hey everyone, welcome to our 6th Python tutorial. Now today we're going to be continuing with our learning of loops and lists in Python with while loops. And don't get scared, I promise while loops are really easy to learn and understand and you guys are going to all do great. So while loops are used to iterate over a section of code as long as the condition at the beginning of the loop is held true. And you'll see what that means in a little bit. And another thing is that while loops are generally used when the specific number of iterations within the loop is not known. So I'm going to give you guys these 3 guidelines and suggestions to use when working with while loops, and you'll see later on the importance of each of these suggestions. So first one is to use while loops sparingly. More often than not, you'll find that for loops are more applicable and effective. And second one is to make sure that your conditional statement, which is at the top of our while loops, will eventually become false at some point, and this avoids us the risk of creating an infinite loop. There are cases when you will need to create an infinite loop, but generally that's not the case, so it's important to make sure that your program is not doing this. And lastly, it's important to keep tabs on your while loop by printing the iterating variable at both the top and the bottom, and this just allows us to keep tab on our variable and make sure that our loops are eventually coming to an end. And this once again avoids us from making an infinite loop or doing something that we don't want to. So let me create a quick example for a while loop and explain to you the different parts. Okay, so let me break down the code that I've written for you guys so far. So right here we have our counter variable called counter. It starts at 0, and we've also defined a list called numbers. And now here we're getting to our while loop. So this is the simple syntax for our while loop. We have the keyword while, and then this is our condition, which must hold true in order for our program to run, right? The inside of our while loop. And we'll see it says counter is less than 6. So while this holds true, the rest of our program will run, right? Our colon, and here within our while loop you're seeing the third rule of our guidelines being used. And right here we're just keeping tabs on our counter variable. So we're just saying at the top of the while loop counter is, and we're just formatting counter so that because it's an integer and it needs to be converted into string. So next we're going to be appending to our list numbers with the variable counter. So we'll just add this whatever value counter is currently into our list. Next we're making sure counter increases, so we have counter is equal to counter plus 1. We'll just increase in value, and then we're saying print numbers now, and we're printing all of the values within our within our list numbers up till that point. And lastly we are fulfilling our third guideline once again by saying at the bottom counter is what. So we're just keeping tabs on our counter variable at all times to make sure that this while loop is ending eventually. And right here you just see this last print to print a new line. And lastly here you see this print total numbers in lists, and we're going to use a for loop right here to just iterate through the list that we've made by appending all of the different counters, and we're going to print out our list. So let me go ahead and run this for you guys so you'll see what exactly is going on. Right? You can see at the top what the value is and at the bottom what it is. And you can see it ends at 6 because once the counter becomes 6 it's no longer fulfilling our condition and it will exit out of the while loop. And right here we're using our for loop and we're printing out our entire list. So one use of a while loop, or one example of while loops in real life, and you'll see them everywhere, is that you could look at the selection, and no need to get political or anything, but this is a really exciting time in our country. So it's important to just understand what exactly is going on in our election, and bringing it back to programming, one while loop that you'll see with this election is that while the electoral vote count for both of our candidates is less than 270, our election is going to go on. So that's just a quick while loop that you'll see in our everyday life. So now I'm going to go into a little more stuff that you can do with our while loops, and I'll talk about the while loop break statement, while loop continue statement, and our while loop else statement. So let me go ahead and do that for you guys. So I've created these quick 3 little programs using our while loops, and we'll explain the topics of else, continue, and break using our while loops. So first, you see this simple while loop that we have our counter I is equal to 1, and we're saying while I is less than 6, print I, and if I is at all equal to 3 during our while loop, then we're going to break out. And what a break does is it simply stops the loop regardless of where it is within the while statement. So it's just going to break it. So let me go ahead and run this program, and you'll see it gets to 3 and then breaks out once I is equal to 3. Next, this is using our continue statement, and what a continue statement does, it stops the current iteration and restarts with the next one. So you'll see right here our counter I is equal to 0. It's iterating through our while loop, and if at all I is equal to 3 during this, it's going to skip the value of 3, probably not going to print it, and then restart with 4. So let's go ahead and run this, and yep, you see that's exactly what's happening. 1, 2, when it hits 3, it's going to continue, restarting, 4, 5, and then 6, and going on. And then lastly, we have our while loop plus our else statement, and you guys all know what an else statement is. So if this while loop ever evaluates to false, we're going to switch over to our else statement and print out this statement. So it's probably going to go up, I'll print out all the way up to 5, and then it's going to say I is no longer less than 6. So you see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I is no longer less than 6. So that's just a quick little intro into while loops and what they can do. And at the end, I've attached from Stack Overflow, I've attached a quick diagram of a while loop and what it is. So we're entering our while loop, and we have our test expression or our condition. And if it evaluates true, we go into the body of our while loop and keep repeating and testing our test expression. And if it evaluates to false, we're going to be exiting out of our loop. So once again, a quick rundown of a while loop. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be sure to add on more videos regarding these topics. So thank you, and once again, all information is linked into the description of the video, so please check that out if you have any questions or any concerns. Thank you. Bye.